see this season. And if they fall short, if the Cincinnati Bengals fall short and Joe Burrow goes out there and has a really good season, then the noise is going to get extremely loud around this organization about the possibility of Joe Burrow requesting to move on from
back in this league.
No, and I don't understand why we still have this consensus around Joe Burrow being a top 5 quarterback. I don't get it. First of all, if he don't make the playoffs this year, all of the excuse making, injuries be damned, gotta be done with Joe Burrow.
When an NFL franchise reaches a point where their championship window is slammed shut by their own organizational dysfunction, they rarely tell you the truth in a press conference. They won't look into the camera and admit that their roster construction was a catastrophic failure, that their coaching staff has been outclassed, or that their franchise quarterback is silently suffocating under the weight of empty promises. No. Instead, they offer you corporate spin. They talk about continuity. They talk about bad luck. And they tell you to trust the process. But when Damien stands on national television and openly declares that Joe Burrow might demand a trade out of Cincinnati if this season falls apart, that isn't just sports talk background noise. That is a siren blaring inside the Bengals front office. You just heard it yourself. The narrative surrounding Joe Burrow in Cincinnati has officially shifted from how many Super Bowls he's going to win to whether he will even finish his current contract in Ohio. For years, the football world gave the Bengals a free pass. We romanticized the story of the hometown hero, the kid from Athens who walked into a dysfunctional, cheap franchise, took them off the NFL scrap heap, and dragged them kicking and screaming to Super Bowl LVI. But nostalgia has a very short expiration date in the National Football League. And right now, the Cincinnati Bengals are standing on the razor-thin edge of an absolute disaster. Look at the harsh, undeniable reality of where this team stands. Heading into 2026, the Bengals have missed the postseason in 3 consecutive seasons. Read that again. 3 straight years of sitting at home in January, while Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson fight for Lombardi trophies. Last season ended in a putrid 6-11 collapse. And while the mainstream media loved to package that failure neatly inside a box labeled Joe Burrow's injury, the truth inside NFL circles is far more disturbing. The Cincinnati Bengals are imploding from the inside out. And the bill for years of mismanaging a generational quarterback is finally coming due.
Joe Burrow, we are going for it right now. Yep. We are trading the 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. We're going to go sign the money on these free agents, and we're going to do everything we can to give you the type of season so that there's not another wasted season in Cincinnati.
The front office tried to wave a magic wand this offseason to calm down an angry fan base. They traded away their top 10 pick to grab defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence, threw money at free agents like Brian Cook, and tried to convince everyone that they were going all in. But ask yourself this: why did it take 4 years of wasted prime football for Mike Brown and the Bengals executive room to realize that Joe Burrow needed a functional defense and an offensive line that wouldn't get him murdered? For half a decade, the Bengals operated on a reckless, unsustainable philosophy. They relied on Joe Burrow to perform miracles behind an offensive line that ranked near the bottom of the league in pass protection year after year. They asked him to hold the ball, throw downfield to Jamar, Chase, and T. Higgins, and absorb brutal, bone-crushing hits week in and week out. And when his body inevitably broke down, first the ACL, then the wrist, then the calf, they treated it like bad luck, rather than the direct consequence of their own systemic negligence. Stephen A. Smith hit the nail right on the head when he pointed out that getting this franchise to a Super Bowl in the first place was an absolute miracle. Think back to that 2021 playoff run. Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times against the Tennessee Titans in the divisional round. 9 times, and somehow still won the game. That wasn't a sustainable football system. That was a superhero pulling off impossible stunts while the building was on fire. But you cannot run a professional football franchise on miracles forever. Eventually, gravity catches up to you, and now the excuses have completely run out. The honeymoon period in Cincinnati is dead and buried. When Joe Burrow signed his massive 5-year fences, $275 million contract extension. It was supposed to solidify the Bengals as a perennial AFC powerhouse. Instead, it exposed every single flaw in their roster construction. Burrow cap hit ballooned. T. Higgins demanded a trade before taking a franchise tag. Jamar Chase held out for top-of-the-market money. And the defense completely collapsed into a bottom-5 unit. The Bengals thought they could pay top dollar to 3 offensive superstars and fill out the remaining 50 roster spots with bargain bin free agents and late-round draft picks. The result? A hollowed-out roster that collapses the moment a single key starter gets hurt.
He got an AFC championship game and took them to a Super Bowl. That's a miracle in itself. A miracle in itself.
That brings us to the brutal truth that critics like Canty are finally calling out on national television. Losers talk about talent because they can't talk about winning. And right now, all the Bengals have left to talk about is potential. Our talent and past memories. We hear analysts rave about Burrow's historical completion percentage, his pocket presence, his cold-blooded demeanor in big moments. But what good is all that talent if it yields 0 playoff wins over a 4-year span? What good is being labeled a top-3 quarterback if you aren't available on the field when your team needs you most? In 2 of the last 3 seasons, Joe Burrow has missed substantial chunks of the schedule due to severe injuries. In the NFL, availability is the single greatest ability a quarterback can possess. When Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill, he adapted, changed his style, stayed healthy, and won back-to-back Super Bowls. When Lamar Jackson faced criticism, he evolved into a 2-time MVP. But Joe Burrow has remained trapped in a perpetual cycle of injury rehab, roster drama, and early off-season vacations. And let me be completely honest with you. We need to stop pretending that Burrow is entirely blameless in how this roster was built. Burrow actively campaigned for the front office to pay both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins top-tier receiver money. Even when league analysts warned that tying up over 40% of the salary cap in 3 offensive players would destroy the team's depth, Burrow got the exact defense he wanted. He got his college teammate. He got his target monster. And he got his big paycheck. But in doing so, he locked the Bengals into a golden cage. He wanted the elite weapons. But now he is suffering the consequences of a roster that has no pass rush depth, no secondary stability, and 0 margin for error. Inside the locker room, frustration is reaching a boiling point. Off-season reports leaked that several veterans were quietly questioning the coaching staff's stubborn refusal to alter their offensive scheme. Head coach Zac Taylor has consistently refused to adapt his scheme to protect Burrow, running static shotgun formations that leave his quarterback exposed to unblocked edge rushers. For years, the media painted Zac Taylor as an offensive mastermind. But the cold truth is that Taylor's entire coaching career has been piggybacked on Joe Burrow's brilliance. Without Burrow playing out of his mind, Taylor's record as a head coach is downright abysmal.
Losers talk about talent because they can't talk about winning. That's what it ultimately comes down to. And it absolves them.
Look around the AFC North right now. The division has undergone a massive seismic shift. For 20 years, Mike Tomlin ruled Pittsburgh and John Harbaugh anchored Baltimore. Now, both coaching icons are gone, leaving behind a power vacuum in the toughest division in football. The door was kicked wide open for the Cincinnati Bengals to step up, assert dominance, and take control of the division. They have the head coaching continuity. They have the established system. They have the schedule advantage. Playing against 4 teams that missed the playoffs a year ago and entering 15 of their 17 games as betting favorites. If Joe Burrow and the Bengals cannot win under these precise, ideal conditions, then when can they? There are literally 0 excuses left on the table. No coaching turnover to adjust to. No brutal gauntlet schedule to blame. And no lack of defensive investment after trading away top draft capital for Dexter Lawrence. If this team fails to win 11 or 12 games and punch a ticket to the postseason, it won't just be a disappointing season. It will be an organizational catastrophe that shatters the entire foundation of the franchise. As Adam Schefter warned, missing the playoffs for a fourth consecutive year will spark ruthless, uncomfortable conversations inside that facility. If Cincinnati misses the postseason again, do you really believe Joe Burrow is going to sit quietly and watch the prime years of his football career get flushed down the drain? Elite quarterbacks in the modern NFL do not suffer in silence anymore. We saw Matthew Stafford force his way out of Detroit when he realized the front office could never build a winner around him. We saw Carson Palmer walk away from Cincinnati years ago for the exact same reason, when he refused to play another snap for an organization that lacked championship ambition. If the Bengals stumble out of the gate, if the defense fails to gel, or if Burrow suffers another setback behind this offensive line, the trade rumors won't just be talk on morning television. They will become an unstoppable avalanche. Super Bowl contenders with elite rosters like the San Francisco 49ers, the New York Jets, or even the Las Vegas Raiders would instantly put together historic trade packages of 3 or 4 first-round picks to rescue Burrow from Cincinnati. And at that point, can anyone really blame Burrow for wanting out?
3 straight years. I'm tired of all of the Joe Burrow sycophants and all of the people that are in the excuse-making business for this dude. He has this team the exact way he wants it.
The clock is ticking louder than ever in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow was hailed as the savior of a franchise that had been a laughingstock for decades. He brought swagger. He brought hope. And he brought an unforgettable Super Bowl appearance. But in the NFL, past achievements don't buy you future grace. The league moves fast, and patience is non-existent when millions of dollars in championship windows are on the line. Every single week of this 2026 campaign will be magnified under an intense national microscope. Every sack Burrow takes, every frustrated reaction on the sideline, and every post-game press conference comment will be scrutinized by fans and executives across the league. The front office knows that their legacy is tied directly to Burrow's happiness. If they deliver a contender, they remain heroes. But if they fail, they will go down in NFL history as the regime that squandered one of the most talented quarterbacks of the 21st century. Burrow is entering year 7 of his career. He is no longer the young phenom on a rookie contract with unlimited time. He is a veteran quarterback sitting on a massive contract, with a mountain of injuries behind him and a fan base growing increasingly desperate for results. This 2026 season isn't just another 7-game slate for the Cincinnati Bengals. It is an ultimate referendum on the entire franchise and its leadership. If Joe Burrow leads this team deep into January, he will cement his status as one of the elite signal callers of his generation and silence every critic who doubted his durability and leadership. But if the Bengals fall flat on their face once again, if they miss the playoffs for a 4th straight year, the Joe Burrow era in Cincinnati will reach its inevitable messy breaking point. The excuses are dead. The safety net is gone. And if the Bengals fail now, Joe Burrow won't just be packing his bags for another early off-season vacation. He might be packing his bags for good. So I'm asking you, NFL fans, has Joe Burrow been held back by a cheap, incompetent Bengals franchise? Or has Burrow himself been overrated and overprotected by media excuses? If Cincinnati misses the playoffs again this season, should Joe Burrow demand a trade out of Cincinnati immediately? Hit the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more NFL Breakdown content.